Vietnam's GDP growth rate rose by 6% in 2011, and she also reduced her budget overspending to less than 5% of the GDP. Furthermore, Vietnam's trade deficit decreased to 10%, which is lower than the expected 18%. Trade between Australia and Vietnam was calculated to be worth more than $6 billion from 2010 to 2011. Vietnam is also one of the United States' major supplier of agricultural products such as coffee, pepper, rubber, wood products, and fishery products. Also, her agricultural exports is expected to soar by 24%. Rice was the largest export earner of agricultural products in Vietnam, with an increase of 14.6% as compared to last year. Most Vietnamese rice was exported to the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Cuba, Senegal, Bangladesh, and Ivory Coast. The demand for Vietnam's agricultural, forestry, and seafood products is showing positive signs, with the ministry forecasting that the industry will exceed the export target of $23 billion this year, up by nearly $3.8 billion from the previous year. However, this form of trade yields low profits. Hence, the Vietnamese government has been making efforts to attract high-value industries. An advantage that Vietnam has is that the wage and production cost there is low, and Vietnam has a young workforce. Many foreign companies from countries such as Korea, Taiwan, the United States, and Japan have moved their factories and offices to Vietnam. Canon, for example, chose a state in Vietnam as the home of its new laser printer plant and is now building a second plant in the neighboring sister complex. Despite having raised the minimum wage, Vietnam's average wage is still lower than countries such as Thailand and China. Vietnamese factory workers earn just two-thirds of what those in China bring home. Majority of the country's population are under the age of 30, which is a plus point to attract investments since these people will be less rigid with the way the companies work. The move from agricultural trade to service trade has also brought benefits to the Vietnamese. Not only has household income and consumption increased, the poor and rural household groups have also benefited greatly. People are also given a chance to move into the urban areas to live and earn higher wages. There are now less people who are poverty-stricken. Despite all this, productivity in Vietnam is still lower as compared to China. Vietnam's industries can be said to be labor-intensive, with little efficient modern plants which produces goods at a quicker rate. Furthermore, Vietnam's infrastructure is one factor that causes investors not to invest there. Roads in Vietnam are rocky and uneven, and the ports are small and unmechanized. All in all, infrastructure in Vietnam is old. As many are shifting their manufacturing services to Vietnam, it is important that Vietnam does not lose out from it. Thus, there are some trade policies that investors have to abide before setting up factories in Vietnam. From an extract of key trade policies in Vietnam, it is said that Vietnam gives investors many investment safeguard measures such as equal treatment among investors on the principle of MFN, ensuring rights in terms of capital and property of investors not to be nationalized by administrative means on a non-discriminatory basis, and timely and appropriate compensation, protecting the rights of investors against changes in Vietnam's law, as well as the rights to transfer benefits and legal properties of investors. Term of the project is decided by the investor but only at 50 years or 70 years maximum. This policy would ensure that foreign companies will not take advantage of the low labor cost and the young workforce in Vietnam.